Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is our Rice News analyst, Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabite.
Good morning, Ruben.
Good morning.
Good morning, Rufai.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Victoria, Tundu, MKO, Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Efeni.
Yes, that's music to your ears.
It never gets old.
Now, let's start the review with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, Southern governors call for national dialogue, restructuring, and open grazing. Want appointments to reflect federal character. Urge Buhari to address nation on insecurity. Now, expectedly, most of the dailies in Nigeria have this event as their lead story. Now, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper, 17 Southern governors ban open grazing. Want Buhari to address Nigerians' organized confab on insecurity. Buhari unveils new measures for Southeast, South-South security. More on threats in North. Afenifere leaders calls for president's resignation. PDP, Nigeria in serious trouble. We must pray now. Now, the Vanguard newspaper, also the story, insecurity, Southern governors meet, offer 10-point solutions, agree to ban open grazing in southern Nigeria, calls for convocation of national dialogue, insist on federal character, reiterates Southerners' commitment to Nigeria's unity, express concern over Oshodi-Apapa Expressway gridlock. Now, the Nation newspaper, Southern governors call for urgent national dialogue. Other demands, urgent and bold steps to restructure Nigeria. Full enforcement of ban on open grazing and cattle movement from north on foot. President Buhari should address Nigerians' concern over Oshodi-Apapa road gridlock, activation of more ports across the states, concern over economic implication of another coronavirus pandemic lockdown, review of opportunities of appointments into government department/security agencies to reflect diversity. United Nigeria on basis of equity, justice, and peace. Now, a lot on those points the governors raised at that meeting, the Southern governors, the 17 Southern governors. Now, on the issue of open grazing, I think it's about time. What we're talking about now is the enforcement, because we've heard a lot of talk how these governors are going to enforce this, left to be seen. Of course, the call for the federal government to partner with willing states to ensure that we have modern grazing methods in the country, ranching, call it any other name, but we want best practices in terms of raising cattle as is done elsewhere in the world. I hope the governors will also put their money where their mouths are right now. Now, if we just look at some other stories, well, it's just, yes, the Sun newspaper. Let's look at the Sun newspaper, the same lead story, but below the photograph, Buhari approves new security measures for Southeast and South-South. Group petitions, United Nations, US, UK, others overshoot on site order against Igbo. While the Daily Independent newspaper, the lead story on Southern governors to ban open grazing, want agitations addressed. Below the photograph, Buhari asks security chiefs to reverse state of insecurity. OK's new security measures for South-South, South-Southeast. Federal government says attack on security operatives, open declaration of war. Now, just beside that, the PDP, robbers, Aso Rock invasion, indication of security collapse. That's according to the PDP. This Tribune newspaper, Nigerian Tribune, the same lead story, but above the masthead, Edo PDP falls out with Obaseki, wants deputy governor to resign for harmonization. You want to ask, is the honeymoon over? Yes, they have to sit down and talk, because when it comes to sharing the spoils, that is where you are likely to have this disagreement. Besides that, how 2023 presidency is splitting the zone, the Nigerian Tribune is reporting. Now, the News Direct newspaper, federal government to prosecute 400 suspects for funding terrorism. Lai Mohammed says federal government not overwhelmed by insecurity. I think we should get those names first before you're even talking of prosecution. Name these persons who are sponsoring terrorism. I don't know why it is taking this long. If we have a list of 400 suspects already. Now, the Punch newspaper, Indian COVID-19 strain surfaces in Nigeria. Diseases Center alerts NCDC. Strain detected in Osun, Edo, same with India's, different in character. There should be announcement that visual strain already in Nigeria, counsels Chomori. Now, if we look at the foreign newspapers quickly, in the UK, yes, the Queen opened the Parliament formally yesterday, and a number of new laws underway in the UK. Now, the Daily Telegraph newspaper, and I'm sure this will interest Tundu, social media firms that fail children to be bad. Social media platforms that fail children from harm online face being shut down under a new law, history-making law that will be unveiled today in the UK. The new law would see social media firms, they could be fined up to 10% of their turnover, or 18 million pounds, that's $25 million, if they fail to stamp out online abuses such as racist, hate, crime, while senior managers could also face criminal action. Yes, the duty of care placed on the tech giants. You cannot just be making all the money without caring about what happened on the platforms or websites. So that law will be unveiled today. But that is not the only law in the UK that will be unveiled. The Guardian newspaper, no, let's take the Times of UK, the Times of UK. New law to protect universities' free speech. Government calls time on student council culture in state opening of Parliament. Yes, student union will be legally obliged to protect freedom of speech for the first time and could be taken to court by council speaker. Yes, this culture, council culture, and by students. Well, this in itself is for the universities and students to protect free speech so that speakers, academics like Ruben will not be gagged when they go to campuses to deliver lectures. Ruben Rufai and Tundu. Tundu, I want to get your take first.
If they're even allowed, thank you, Mr. Feni. That's if they're even allowed to give the lecture. You'll recall that in recent times, even really eminent figures like Jermaine Greer have been banned. When the announcement goes out that this speaker is coming, cancel culture kicks in, and they'll say, oh no, this person is anti-transgender in her case, and they don't even get to speak at all. It's ridiculous, quite frankly. But about social media, this news comes as Facebook is planning Instagram for kids. Whose dumb idea is that? They say that because it's targeted at children, there will be no advertising, nothing to manipulate children. But of course, that's a completely ridiculous notion. You can imagine the kind of bullying, the kind of poor effects it will have on children's mental health. So I do completely agree with that law. And social media giants, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, but they always try and shirk that responsibility and claim that whatever happens on their platform in the names of freedom of expression is okay and they cannot step in. Great. I mean, I completely agree with it. But I thought you would talk about Israel and Palestine and the escalating hostility.
Okay, the front page of the Washington Post. The Washington Post has that story, the escalation. And what is happening now is close to full-scale war between Israel and the Hamas on the Gaza Strip.
Or can we call it a full-scale war when one side is so much more powerful than the other? I mean, even if Israel was figuratively fighting with both hands tied behind their back, they would trounce Palestine. This is my problem with the sort of disproportionate reaction that Israel tends to use. Benjamin Netanyahu, I think this is a convenient situation for him to detract from his political woes and his corruption trial that he's facing. But I think it's really tragic. It's heartbreaking. Look at the fatalities in Gaza. Look at the fatalities in Israel,
30 going to 40
including children. Israel needs to stop being such a bully, quite frankly. I mean, it's wrong. When you're so much stronger than the second party, you don't need to fight with full force. It's not a good look.
Well, we've been told that the moon has now been sighted and that Eid al-Fitr will be tomorrow. So we look forward to that. And I've been asking my Muslim friends whether there will be free meat, as is customary. But I'm told that it's during Eid al-Kabir that you get a lot of free beef. Anyway, quickly, I was going to link that to the story on the front page of The Punch. I think we should keep harping on it. Indian COVID-19 strain surfaces in Nigeria. Diseases Center alerts NCDC. And that information, we're told, is coming from Professor Kristen Happy, who is in charge of the Genomics Center at the university in Ede. And I think everybody should take that seriously. If you look at the pictures of the governors below that headline, you see that, well, in some parts, you could see them using the face masks. But when they were taking pictures, nobody was wearing any face mask, no social distancing. And we all do it. We wear the mask when it is convenient. When we want to take pictures, we abandon all the non-pharmaceutical protocols. The COVID-19 variant, the virus from India, is said to be a virus of great concern. It's a mutant virus. I think we have to keep repeating the point, even at the risk of sounding like a broken record. Now, quickly, as for the meetings of the governors, you have commented on parts of it. I know I said earlier that I support dialogue and that it's important. But within the time left for the Buhari administration, can we still have a national dialogue and have enough time to implement some of the recommendations?
A national dialogue on insecurity. That's what they're calling for.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a full-scale national confab like we had under Jonathan. At least if we dialogue on the insecurity, look at some of these subnationals that are agitated, then we'll be making some progress. There's always value in talking.
Okay. I mean, I had a lot to say about Israel and national issue, but we'll have to go now. But thank you so much for your time.